Hello, and welcome to the first ever Mumbles with Cuddles. Basically, all I'm going to do is talk over a load of game footage of some games that I think probably could do with a bit more exposure, or they could have on their release time, to be fair. It's a bit too late now. But I thought, yeah, I'll talk about some games that I think are quite good. Maybe someone hasn't heard of them, maybe they'll get into them and well, they'll find a really good game, especially when it comes to the space area. There's not that many, especially like the one I'm going to show you today, which is Nexus The Juipiter Incident. It's actually a pretty old game. Well, it's not that bad, I guess. 2004 it was released. Um, and it does not look too bad for 2004 at all. I really like the effects in this game, actually, especially the high-powered weapons. Like what you just saw there was an overload. That's the one. Overload shield weapon. Basically, it's a bit like the missiles in this game. It's just a big area of effect shield bomb that fires at things. Basically, it looks a lot more dangerous than it is. But you know, you got to add some cool stuff in. So what you're seeing here is actually gameplay from one of the missions in the game. I actually only recently found this game, maybe 3-4 years ago. I've played through the campaign once, and I was playing through it a couple of days ago, and just thought, I'll record a game. Well, maybe I'll put up a video, yeah, but it turns out I did. So yeah, as you can see here, what is making this game different from everything else, and why I like it so much, is because it's actually different from everything else. The thing it's probably closest to Homeworld series, yeah, probably the Homeworld series. I mean, you've got individual ships in there. Yeah, it's all really good. There's a few problems with it though, really. I mean, it's like they started making a completely different game. I mean, if you look at the galaxy map, I didn't put it in this video stupidly, but it's this massive map that you can move around on there and do whatever you want, really. You can't go there, you can only look. But it's like they wanted a big free roam area, kind of, probably with even trading and picking your fights and things like that, but just never got around to it. So all you're left with is a campaign and this massive galaxy map that you're thinking there's got to be something else I can do with this, but no, nothing at all really. But it's a good game. The differences are basically you can select all the different weapons on your ship. You can fire at multiple different ships at the same time. Obviously, you can try and take one shield down on one of the ships while firing big uranium bolts into another or something like that. And the same again, you can target the systems on other ships. Not in one of these games, but another one, they just took out my weapon generator. I could do nothing. There was absolutely nothing I could do. There is repair, but if it gets damaged to a certain extent, there's just you can't repair it. So you can actually get pretty stuck sometimes. It's not very often. I think when they took out my generator, they also took out my engines. Basically, there was a ship behind me. They fired a missile into it, and just the area of the explosion just took out so many systems on my ship. I did actually manage to finish the mission, weirdly enough, because I had another ship with me, and they only had one little thing left. So I just managed that. But it's a good game. It's a tactical space game, basically. It's not. I can't think of anything really like it. Maybe that's why I didn't do so well, but I love it, to be honest. I love this kind of combat. There's all kinds of things you can do in it. You can pick your power levels for certain things, and actually there is some customization of the ships before battles. You've got different options, different weapon systems, and even different generators. The problem is, though, they're mostly the same. About halfway through the campaign, they just start spewing out the same thing as you've already got, just slightly better every mission. And it's I guess, well, there's only a certain amount of weapons you can stick on a ship. Well, there's a few different types actually. There's basically missiles, which are devastating, but they can be shot down. I haven't found them particularly useful, other than against targets which are small, but I can take out small targets really quickly with normal weapons, so why bother with missiles? There's also torpedoes, but they're just like your standard weaponry, basically. So the missiles and the torpedoes is the only thing with ammo, basically, in the game, so you can run out of ammo. but only on those two types of weapon. The one you saw at the start of the game, that was a big shield overload weapon. And then there's a smaller variance of that as well, which is probably what you can use most. And then you've got your standard hull attack one. And then you've got lasers. The lasers in this game basically are just for piercing shields and taking out subsystems. They're pretty effective, but sometimes you just come up... It's a bit difficult because all the systems are obviously located on a certain part of the ship, and you don't really have a set amount of control on the positioning of the ship. They kind of do it all automatically, so you're a bit limited there. But yeah, that's basically the game. If you think you'd like a tactical version of Homeworld 2, basically, but without the building options and such, then it's a great game. What you're seeing here is actually a mod for Battlestar Galactica in this. I love Battlestar Galactica, to be honest. The new series, not the old series. Well, I've only ever seen a few episodes of the old series, but the cheesiness, there was just too much. I couldn't take it. But this is done pretty well, actually. They couldn't add enough weapons onto the ships, which is just a limitation with the game engine. Which it takes away a bit. What you see there is the main cannons on the Pegasus firing at a base star there. That's another problem. As I was saying earlier, you can't control really where the ship faces and such, so it's really difficult to do certain things. Like the cannons on that are only at the front, but it probably can't fire anymore, just because as soon as it goes anywhere near it, it's never going to face the target again. It's just going to float around it. But I mean, the game wasn't made for this, really, so you can't complain that much. Yeah, it's a good game engine. It looks good still, and this is a really nice mod. I'll put some links up for downloading these things. You can get Nexus on Steam, so you can play things like this. Now this is actually quite an interesting fight. It's interesting at the start, but I thought I was going to lose quite badly here. I mean, it's 3 base stars versus the Pegasus here. It's taking a massive battering at the start. And the reason really it was taking massive battering at the start was the raiders. Not the raiders doing damage to the ship, but the raiders distracting my fighters so they couldn't shoot down the missiles. The thing in this mod is just the battle stars are really overpowered. I mean, mainly because the missiles you can shoot down, but you can't shoot down the weapons from the battle stars. So you know, it goes either way. And I'm actually loading nukes as well. Because what kind of game would it be without nukes, eh? So yeah, as you can see, there's just some gameplay here really of the mod. It's quite good. It's very limited really. There's I don't know, 8 missions, something like that. But it's quite good fun, especially if you're a fan of Battlestar. It does lose actually a little bit of its tactics from Nexus though, just because obviously you don't have shields in this, so there's a little bit less energy management. Actually, there's almost none. The only thing you can increase the power of is the engines, and once you've done that once, it's you basically just have an afterburner option for a minute on your ship, and it's not like a massive afterburner option. You're trying to move a Battlestar here, so yeah, it's still, as I was saying, it is a mod. It's not made by the devs of the game, so it is really good, especially the models. I really like the models. They're done really well. So yeah, this is one of the mods. There's loads for Nexus actually. There is loads. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but there's also the skirmisher mods where you get to you can just pick any ship you want and go fight any other ship, which is good fun. There is multiplayer in the game, but have fun trying to find someone to fight, unless you're LAN or something like that. But this game, it just could have been so much more. It really could have been. There was actually a sequel. Well, there might even still be a sequel in development. Well, there was definitely one in development, but it got cancelled, and then recently they came up with a Kickstarter to try and make the sequel, basically, which is well, I was quite excited about it. They weren't very good at trying to engage their audience, I guess. Getting the news out there, I mean, it wasn't too bad. I saw it on PC Gamer, I think, at one point, so you know, They did get out there a bit, but there weren't very many updates on the Kickstarter. And actually, before the Kickstarter, they also did it on Indiegogo, I think, as well, and failed there. It's a real shame. I mean, I would love a Nexus 2. I really would. But yeah, just wasn't meant to be, I guess. They could have done better, as I said, on the Kickstarters. But these things happen, I guess. They were also using the same tech demo video that was out in like 2007, something like that. So unlike other games where on the Kickstarters that tend to do well, is they've got some kind of game footage beforehand. And obviously they didn't really have any. They had a little bit, a few concepts, not a massive amount really. And there wasn't really, as I said, there just wasn't enough buzz around it really. I mean, you can't completely blame them. I mean, some people just don't want a space game, especially a tactical space game like this. It's just, I don't know, maybe there's not a big market. I hope there is, but apparently there isn't, which is a real shame. But if you want to pick up Nexus, grab it from Steam or Amazon or anywhere really. It's pretty cheap. I didn't check, but it's probably not cheap on Steam actually, because they like to make old games randomly expensive. But Amazon, you can probably pick it up for almost nothing, and it really is worth it. I mean, if you've never played it before, you're going to really enjoy the story actually the first time. It's a bit slow in the middle. The start is also a bit, well, it's just a tutorial area really. All of the first few missions is basically just getting used to the game, because although it's got some complexity, it's not really that complex to use. Yeah, as I said, probably because there isn't very many options of movement really. You can fly towards things or you can fly away from things. That's it. There's no real kind of manual control as to where your ship's facing and such like that, which is probably helping as to why it's so simple to play really. Which is yeah, good job in part of the devs, I guess. They're making a complex game well, available and easy to use. It's probably half the fight there. So yeah, I'll leave you to watch the end of this battle. It's not that spectacular, as you can see. That nuke that I fired on the almost dead base star behind it took out its engines, took out loads of its subsystems and most of its weaponry. So it's just finishing it off now. I've got all those fighters circling the Pegasus, so none of its missiles are even getting to me. As I said, I was actually quite surprised I managed to pull this one off, but the nukes helped, obviously. They can shoot down the nukes, but they didn't. I thought they were going to, but apparently they didn't want to live. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I like making things like this, so I'm going to keep going even if you didn't enjoy it, but obviously you have a choice as to whether you're going to watch it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, and hopefully I'll talk to you again. Thanks.